Pops and Jeff, I have to say, I am devastated today. My son, who has
I know
predicted
that was the first
correctly.
thing I was gonna say. Apologize to my boy, man. I'm so sorry.
Right. I
Go
know.
ahead, finish what you were saying. I'm
No,
sorry.
I haven't
It
told
had
him
it had to
yet.
be us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Tell
haven't
him.
told him yet, but
Yeah, tell Pops because he doesn't know.
so my 8-year-old son correctly predicted the last 6 winners of the Amazing Race. And before the season started, he picked you guys
And
and
we
has
messed his
broken the
record up.
street.
Yeah, so
Wow,
sorry.
man. It's,
I'm so sorry.
actually, I saw that on, I don't
On
know
the
what,
internet.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
when
I
I
saw that.
reposted
Yeah,
it.
I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, that
Well,
was
oh
so
man.
cool.
Yeah.
But man, I feel bad for letting them down.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Man, I
didn't at
feel
all
bad.
because you were still
We
so fun to watch.
Thank you so much.
thank
Thank you,
you.
Jeff.
Appreciate
And
that.
you're always
Appreciate
fun to
that
watch too.
as well.
Thanks. Thanks. It's always wild when I get on here and you guys know who I am and
Yeah.
and you've been watching along, but
It's the same way this way. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
all right, so I want to go back to this episode because it just seemed like it was one thing after another with you guys. I couldn't really point to one thing that you
Right.
got wrong there.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Man.
I can't. It's funny because we've been interviewing all day, and it's even more stuff that I'm thinking about. It was the perfect storm, right? I think everything happens for a reason, and if anything ever just seemed like fate, we're supposed to go out in the 6th leg of Tour 37. You know what I mean? It's just like,
I've seen
even
that.
on the camel ride, our pack of camels got lost in the desert. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
So it's like, yeah, so like, yeah, I mean, that didn't affect our time because, of course, they waited to go on the planes to fly. But it's just like, as I think about it, it was like, that was not our lucky day at all.
And I always wanted to go to Dubai. And it was like,
Yeah.
okay, it was just that we just had to go out to in Dubai. I mean,
Yeah.
we're here.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it seemed like honestly everything you did this leg looked fun.
It was and worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that make it better to go out this leg, or was it even more
Absolutely.
devastating?
Absolutely. For me, I would say,
I think, that's why I thought it wasn't as bad how we went out. Because everything was fun there. It wasn't like, okay, we still at the challenge trying to do it.
No, we just eliminated.
Right. We it was in a foot race, and my ankle wasn't at its best at the time, and I mean, it was crazy.
I'm glad that we went out. Okay. I don't want to start a sentence off with I'm glad that we went out, but if we have to go out, it was down to the wire. We had given each one of those challenges everything that we had. Each challenge was something absolutely new to us, right? When it comes to Pops jumped out of a plane, you know what I mean? And that was his first time ever doing anything like that. He had to land on his feet, and we're in 7th place out of 8 people at the time. So it wasn't like, Pops, congrats. We didn't get that whole moment where we cry and jump around like everybody else did. It was like, Pops, come on, let's go. Let's grab this clue and let's get in this cabin. We got to go.
Right.
Then we get to the place, the bakery, and I really genuinely was excited that it was something that is not in our wheelhouse. Like we wanted to come and do different things. But it was so far out of our wheelhouse. Like it was, we're decorating pastries. I don't decorate anything, and I don't do anything to pastries. You know what I mean? So it was just like it just. But we had fun with it. We split up our tasks, and it came down to we struggled with the same thing that everybody struggled with on there. It was like these little white flowers that you had to put on these certain cupcakes. Everybody had that same problem. They go out there and come back trying to figure out what it was that was wrong with their cupcakes, and it was those little white flowers. So that you feel a little bit better about that because it wasn't just you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, that was that.
Yeah, so how many times did you end up having to get those checked? Like, how many times did you miss the flowers?
Was it
at least 2 or 3? Yeah. I think everybody had like 2 or 3 checks from what I can remember from that day. Yeah. So we go out there. He say missing something. We go back. We come back, still missing something. We'd go back, and then we went back the second time. We were still missing those white flowers, and then Mr. Clumsy right here knocks off a piece of icing from the top piece of cake, right? But the big problem with that check was we were still missing something. Yeah. So when we go back, they give us another cake for him to work on, and I'm looking at the example trying to figure out what are we missing, right? And I figure out that it's the white flowers. I take the little flowers, break them up, and put them on a cupcake. By the time I finished fixing that situation, Pops was done making the other cake. That was the easiest cake to make, right?
So it didn't slow us up.
It didn't really slow it. We go back up there. He checks it. Congratulations, such a clue. We leave, and if you look, when we're getting the clue out of the box, we're right there with Eric and Melinda. We're right there with Nick and Mike. So it's a new race for 6th place. You know what I mean? And then Jonathan and a couple other guys are still out in the water, figuring it out. By the time I got out into the water, they were coming back, you know. So it was me, Erica, and
Nick.
Yeah. So that's, you know, it was a new race at that point for just us.
So Jeff, did it end up making a difference having your shoes on? Did that hold you up, or do you think it hurt?
So did it make a difference with time? No, because we did pass Nick and Mike up doing that challenge, and I couldn't imagine myself doing that surfing any faster. I've never done anything like that. But did it whoop me? Yes. Swimming with shoes on, for anybody who doesn't know this, if you're anything like me, and I guess nobody else is, you should never try to swim in the middle of the ocean with shoes on. It weighs you down. It was a bad idea. I asked the guy, should I keep my shoes on and take them off? He's like, you could keep them on or take them off. It's up to you. And I should have taken them off. In my head, I'm thinking the extra time that it's going to take to untie my shoes, pull these running shoes off, take my socks off, and all of that. I'm thinking I'm making like the best decision ever by just, you know, bypassing that stop and just going out there and doing it. So the only difference that it made was that it just beat me up really bad doing that when I had to. But you're not, most of the time you're on the e-foil board and that thing is carrying you out there. Then you're standing on it. Then when you fall, you got to swim back to it. And that's when I had to expense a lot of energy swimming with those wet shoes on. Yeah.
He'll never do it again.
It won't happen again.
You're saying the next time you get out there, you're going to take your shoes off.
Right.
And then those shoes, everybody kept bragging about how those shoes were like water resistant or waterproof. I thought that was because if you come into a water situation, you could keep them on. So I thought it was, yeah, my bad. That's the best thing I can say. So.
Yeah. So the two of you, clearly you have this really tight, really special bond, like
Absolutely.
you know, as father and son, as coworkers, as best friends.
Yep.
Did anything about your relationship, like, did you learn anything new about each other while you were out there on the race?
If you want to start it, or
no, you can start it. I'll start.
It was just mostly like solidifying things, right? Like
that's what
my dad. I said it on the episode. I literally always looked at him as Superman. I've always looked at him the way that I want my son and my daughter to look at me now, and you know, as they get older. So to see him in the most intense possible situation, you got $1 million on the line, you got cameras all in your face, filming a TV show. It's every reason to be anxious and nervous and to not be as calm and cool as collected as you see him be. And he still had that same demeanor, right? So it's just solidified that dad is who I've always thought he was. You know, you got to put him in a pressure cooker and see if that's really who he is, and that's really who he is. And it just inspired me more and motivated me more to make sure that at all times my kids are able to say, yeah, dad is who he says he is, who we think he is, right? So if something is going on either at the house or something else is going on in my life, I got to keep that same calm and, you know, collected and demeanor that I get to see my dad have. So, and I hope I pass that to my son. And then, you know, it goes on and on for generations, because I remember my grandfather being the same way, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I loved it. I mean, it was like, he brought it to my attention about the race. So when he told me we was going to be on Amazing Race, I'm like, yeah, right, you know. And it actually happened. And I don't know, everything we did while we were there, it was like him and I created that, because we always challenging one another and making up different games. And the Amazing Race, it come up with so many beautiful challenges. I love them, you know, because it's not something you can like, let me prepare myself for just throwing this basketball in a hoop, or it was something different. And I knew that being something different, and all of us there didn't know what we were going to do. So it's like, anybody can get it, you know, anybody can win it. So I was loving it. And then being with my son, I mean, shoot, man, that's icing on the cake.
Yeah, one of the most, and piggybacking off something he said, one of the best things to see is that these are just people that came up with this beautiful idea for a game, right? Just like we do sometimes, like let's throw this rock in that trash can, let's do this. And they just have these crazy resources to bring it to life. You know what I mean? And as we're doing the challenges, we watch, you know, you could see some of those producers and guys like laughing or smiling and just being so they're enjoying watching this stuff play out as much as we're enjoying doing it. You know, when you see a twist and a surprise, it is a genuine surprise because they love to see that we're being this surprised, not even for the viewing audience. I think they just love it because, you know, so when we're a part of something that some people who really love what they do have put together, you can't do anything but enjoy it. I can never imagine anybody saying that they didn't enjoy doing this, man. And if you can't enjoy doing this, and if you can't love this game, especially after being in it, then that says something about you. You know, it's a beautiful experience. It really is.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, it always looks fun. Like even when people are not having fun, it looks fun.
Yeah, it looks fun. and even, I mean, when I was doing the rice, it was 100 and something degrees outside. I had to wear long sleeves and long pants because to cover up my tattoos in Bali that day. And even while I was doing it, I was exhausted. Everything hurt, but I was enjoying it because I'm like, wow, I'm making rice out of these rice stalks. I didn't know that this is how rice was made. You know what I mean? And everybody knows I really enjoy swinging that hammer, making them mochi balls. And I played the drums. I surfed. I got to watch pops fly out of the sky. Everything about it was just so beautiful. Yeah.
That's really lovely to hear. It's kind of a confirmation of everything that I already know about the race, but it's so the way that you phrase that is just really lovely. But I have one more question left, and this is for Pops. Have you been bungee jumping yet?
No, I'm waiting. I'm still waiting. I would love to do that. Maybe that's going to come on the next one.
Yeah. We want to save that as another first for the next.
That's right.
For Tor, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I really loved watching you guys. I thought you were so much fun. You were really funny. I think I didn't see nearly as much as I would have liked. And of course, my poor kid, he doesn't know yet. I will tell him tonight.
Man, don't tell him. Don't tell him. Just edit us. You good at cap cut or anything? Can you edit us into the next episode?
A little director's cut for him.
It's good to know that he chose us, man. That feels real good.
Yeah,
the guy to choose.
I was honored when I first seen it, but of course I knew the results.
Right. It made me feel bad, but I was honored. Though, yeah. So I'm glad for you to say maybe on the next one we may be there. We don't know, but hopefully.
Yeah. Hey, you know, if you ever go back out there, you know, father-son teams do pretty well the second time around. So.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, and he had an ankle problem or Achilles.
He sure did.
So he came back, and it was a time for redemption. So maybe that's.
But I'm never looking at that as an excuse because I still felt like I felt good. It was I wasn't in any pain. It was just the motion. I had to work on it. But
well, nobody would have noticed. Like they didn't even mention it on the air.
Right. And we are lumberjacks. We're black lumberjacks. We don't look like what you would think of when you think of somebody running tree companies. We're in St. Louis, Missouri. We've always like kind of ironically had to keep that separate. You got to stay a step ahead. You know what I mean? Metaphorically. And now in that race, we kind of looked at it like, okay, whatever's going on with his ankle, we just got to stay a step ahead. We got to keep that separation between us and whatever team was behind us. Like, and so we didn't mind at all feeling like we, you know, any disadvantage or whatever. And it was our own disadvantage. We would have figured this out before we left, then, you know, it wouldn't have been a thing. Yeah, exactly. So you know, but when I guess I'm just saying adversity or any challenge, anything being a little bit harder, it didn't bother us, you know. Yeah, so it's not an excuse. Yep, we're ready anytime.
And you're better now. The ankle's healed
up. And he's better now.
Yeah,
that's great. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're actually this room that we're in, we're at a gym, but we rented out a little room, and then we're going to get right back to our workout when all of this is over. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want to keep you then. So
no. You got out there. We are enjoying talking to you. Really.
I know. I love it. It's been so great to get to talk to you both. And we wish you all the best. Like, don't be strangers. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Appreciate that.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.